Over the past couple of days, my attention has finally been drawn away from the PSVR2 PC adapter, although there are some more videos coming out about that over the next coming weeks, and over to Arcade Paradise VR, a game that just came out on PSVR2, and I gotta say, it's a pretty damn good PSVR2 port, but not without its few problems. So before we jump in and talk about it in depth, please feel free to like and subscribe, all the usual good stuff. And let's talk Arcade Paradise. This is a flat screen game adapted for VR, and adapted very well, I might add. If you hadn't told me it was a flat screen game, I wouldn't have known when I jumped in. You get put in the shoes of a 19-year-old girl whose father wants her to basically take over the laundromat that he owns. However, she has different ideas and wants to turn the back of the laundromat into an arcade. You're seeing about the first hour or two of my gameplay, mostly of the laundromat stuff, because that is what you're most focused on at the start of the game, but over time, you turn the arcade into something properly special, expanding it and adding more cabinets to it, 39 in total, although I haven't unlocked all of them yet, as I've only played around 3 or 4 hours of the game, but did want to give my impressions of it so far. Gameplay wise, you're split between doing chores in the laundry room, like actually doing laundry, picking gum off the walls, taking the rubbish out, or if you're American, taking the trash out, I guess, cleaning the toilets, all that lovely stuff. On the other side of that, after hours and after you're done cleaning everything up and the store is closed, or even while the store is open, if you want to, you can jump into the arcade side of the laundromat and play any of the arcades that you yourself have bought. You can also hop onto your computer and order more arcades and expand the area, and you can also adjust where the arcades are in the area to put more popular machines next to, say, less popular machines to try and drive up their attention. In terms of the arcade itself, that's where the most love has been put into this game, and there is so much attention to detail put into all the cabinets, the actual games themselves, how you play them, the variety of games on display here, the whole lot. Some of them are played with the Sense controllers, and some of them are played with the joysticks on the Sense controllers. For example, the more Pac-Man / GTA style games are controlled with the joystick, so you just push them up, down, left and right to control your character, and then some, like the more shoot 'em up style games, you'll be grabbing the actual gun like you would be in an arcade and firing it off with the Sense controllers, with some lovely adaptive trigger support for those type of games. The haptics overall here are pretty damn good as well, and the game makes good use of PSVR2 features. Speaking of which, it makes use of the native frame rate on the headset. There's no reprojection here, and that is very, very welcome. I did find that it wasn't the sharpest game I've ever played though, as in the laundromat sections where things look a little bit more realistic, but the assets aren't really that great. I found there was a bit of aliasing, but I'll happily take a native frame rate along with a bit of aliasing rather than completely smooth edges and a terrible frame rate, so I'm pretty happy there. And also in the arcade segment of the laundromat, everything kind of comes together quite nicely and looks very, very polished and well done there, because that's clearly where the love has been poured into. Over the starting couple of hours, you spend most of your time in the laundromat, but as you progress through the game, and as the story advances, with your father being disapproving of the advancement of the arcade, your focus will be more on the arcade than the laundromat, and eventually you can just kind of give up on the laundromat altogether and focus on the arcade, because that is where the money is being made. The money that you make each day can be put towards new machines, and eventually, yes, that is your focus, having a massive arcade cabinet around the back. And this is a gameplay loop like here can keep you coming back for 15 to 20 hours to get all of them. There are 39 in the main game. In the flat screen version, there are 35 with 4 DLC ones, but all of the DLC is packed into the Arcade Paradise VR version, so you don't have to pay any extra for that. It's not like there's a complete disconnect between the laundromat sections and the arcade sections though, because the laundromat itself is split up into minigame-like tasks, judging you based on whether or not you get certain settings right for the laundromat and how fast you do it, and for example, judging on the distance you can throw the trash bag into the bin. You'll get awarded different points, which then give you money. I, for one, did not grow up around arcades like this, mostly because the town I grew up in didn't really have one. We never had anything like this, so I don't really feel a sense of nostalgia for this type of CRT monitor style arcades that you'd say find at coastal towns here in the UK. I visited them occasionally, but didn't really grow up playing them a lot, so I didn't really get much out of a nostalgia factor for this one, which meant that by the end of my couple of hours with it so far at least, I haven't loved it as much as other reviewers, but I still think it's an incredibly solid game, and if you grew up around this sort of environment, you're going to get a lot out of it. Only 4 of the games I think are licensed at all, and those are the DLC ones. The rest of them are not licensed and try and bear no resemblance to real-world counterparts, but you can see the inspirations are clearly there. There are Pac-Man style games, GTA style games, all of the shoot-em-up games that you'd expect to be there. There's a whole host of variety here. Some of them definitely work better than others, but on the whole, if you enjoy arcades, this game is a dream come true for a management style sim and an arcade machine simulator. My biggest and only issue, to be honest, is the jankiness of some of the laundromat segments. Taking laundry in and out of the machines can get your hands stuck on certain objects, which is kind of frustrating, and sometimes grabbing objects like rubbish off the floor doesn't work quite as I'd like it to, meaning that if I want to try and get some tasks done very quickly, it can be quite janky to get them done, which is a little rough, but to be honest, as you progress through the game, again, you're doing less and less of the laundry side, and it's not really enough to really annoy you, consistently at least. It was just slightly frustrating every now and then when my hand would get stuck on an object, or I'd be trying to multitask and it would kind of get caught in its own jank. The arcade side of things though, as I said, is perfectly flawless to be honest, and I really enjoyed it. Little details as well, like other humans being inside the laundromat and the arcades, is really cool to see as well, because it makes it feel like an actual arcade cabinet that's open to people and not just kind of like an empty stage for you to go and play these things and do your laundromat tasks in. I really appreciated that as I played through, and they do turn into kind of like pixelized. It feels like you're snapping them away like Thanos as you get closer to them, which I'm assuming is to let you hop on machines that are already in use, so you can kind of do whatever you want, but I did find that kind of funny. But it's cool to see that there are other humans around, adding a bit more to that immersion factor. You can get a jukebox as well slightly later on, and the music in this game is surprisingly really damn good. It's all original, I think, and non-copyrighted, but I won't risk a claim just in case by playing it to you. But it is really, really good, fits the aesthetic, fits the mood, and overall the game is just a vibe, I'd say, if I had to sum it up in one sentence. Anyway, those are my first impressions of Arcade Paradise VR on PSVR2. A very good port of a very good game, despite a little bit of jank. I've really enjoyed it. I can see why other reviewers, especially reviewers older than me that might have grown up in this era, who've played loads of cabinets in arcades and stuff like that, would absolutely feel at home here. I don't quite feel as at home in a game like this, but I still find a lot of enjoyment and an addictive nature to it, wanting to come back and add to my arcade whenever I get the chance. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to our patrons and YouTube members: Luke Bentley, Bill Irving, Hazit Mirza, Ace Gamer, Hippie Pickle, Jen007, A License to Chill, Sun WTF, Fat Controllers, Jason Parker, Lamar Hall, Jordy Bandsma, and Lemon64k. If you want to join the Patreon or YouTube membership, all those details for the perks and everything are down below, as well as all the links. Thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next one.